Hello, everybody. My name is Michael McCormick, and you are listening to the Superintendent Hot Seat, where bold superintendent leaders share the real stories behind their most difficult challenges and decisions as they work to improve student safety, wellness, and attendance in a system not yet fully prepared to support those entering our schools. In today's episode, we're talking to Dr. Benjamin Churchill. Ben, how are you?
Very well, sir. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I don't know about you, but this is one of those days in Southern California that the rest of the nation should absolutely be jealous of us.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Hey, the big question we're asking here on the Superintendent's Hot Seat podcast is, how are you thinking about, let's just get right down to it. It's really about student and employee wellness. And so what do you, now you're in a new school district since I talked to you last. Where are you at, Ben?
That's right. I am now in the Poway Unified School District, which is in the suburbs of San Diego.
Oh, boy. People pay a lot of money to live down there where you guys are at.
Indeed. Very fortunate. Very fortunate to be here.
Well,
yeah.
Ben, kicking it, I mean, so this is interesting. We talked a little bit about, it's almost like you're having two starts in your new role. You came in, as I remember, was it around September of 2024?
No. So I started my current job here in Poway in December last year, 2024. I had been in the Carlsbad Unified School District for the prior 8.5 years. And I started that job traditionally with a July 1 start date. I got hired here in Poway and started on December 2nd. And that was great in a lot of ways and challenging in some ways.
Yeah, so kind of a non-traditional transition time.
Exactly right. The school year was well underway. The board's priorities had been established for the year. School sites had made decisions about all the things that they make decisions about over the summer, and we're implementing those plans. So when I entered on December 2nd, it was really a great opportunity for me to listen and learn about all of the great things that were happening without having to lead the process of kicking off a new school year.
Yeah, that's actually kind of a really, now, I mean, I could say that there could be some really positive things to that, because you get that period of time where you're watching, you're listening, people carrying out the initiatives that were started with past administration. And so you're kind of, were you working an entrance plan for yourself at that time?
Yeah, so the board appointed and announced me in October. So I had a couple of months to get up to speed on as many things as I could from a distance, right? While I was still wrapping up my role in Carlsbad. I talked to the board about a 90-day entry plan, like most superintendents do, a 100-day entry plan, where I talked specifically about listening and learning before transitioning into leading, and having those several months of December, January, February to get to know folks, to get to understand the culture, what was going really well and what were some of the challenges. That made a huge difference for me in terms of understanding the system. We're a relatively large school district. We have about 34,000 students, 41 school campuses. So I spent the first several months just simply visiting all 41 schools. That in itself was time consuming, but my goodness, the absolute best part of my first 3 months on the job, because I got to engage with students and staff in their own local context on their school sites.
Yeah, I love that. And I think let's talk about that a little bit, just from like a wellness perspective and just being a good listener. And I think, I mean, I'm preaching to the choir. You know that the best thing you can do is be out talking to people, because not only does it humanize you as a superintendent, but it also gives you a chance to see the incredible. And I'm guessing, because I think that there's incredible things happening in every school. And so talk to us a little bit about, what are some of the really incredible things that you witnessed that stand out to you?
Yeah, I am very fortunate to have stepped into a role in a traditionally high performing school district with very involved families, with outstanding community partnerships. I didn't walk into a system or a situation where things felt broken at the school site level. Quite the contrary. It's amazing the things that are happening at the school site level. Our district over the last couple of years has invested in focusing on both the learning side of the student experience and the belonging side of the student experience. So I got to see in action on the ground in real time outstanding teachers and other certificated staff, classified staff who are bought into this idea of learning being important and belonging being important. And so each school tackles that in a different way. On the belonging side, particularly, each of our campuses look different. The communities they serve can be very different. And so listening to teachers and counselors and principals talk about the unique needs and challenges of their own school site, and then meeting with students, with young people, sitting in the classroom, talking with young people at lunch or in passing periods, nothing better than getting a sense of the student experience, than being there with them, talking to them, listening. And my goodness, what an awesome way to kick off my superintendency here.
Yeah, it's almost like you got a chance to come in, and I mean, this is really, I think, worth emphasizing. Not
Yeah,
everybody gets this type of an opportunity where plans are in motion, culture is set, and
yeah,
you can really just soak it all up. Um,
that's exactly right. Yeah,
yeah, so that's good. So now that you've soaked it all up, you're just getting ready to have your own kickoff. I'm sure you're pulling people together, and I
yeah,
don't know exactly what your calendar is there where you're at, but systematically you've probably had your cabinet and your administrators come in for some sort of a kickoff, and teachers are coming back, and
yeah,
you'll have a kickoff with your classified staff and your teachers. What
yeah,
are the things
yeah.
that you're thinking about in terms of forwarding or continuing or building upon that sense of belonging work?
Yeah, that's great. We're actually 2 days away from all of our administrators coming back
Oh,
to do
right on.
the leadership kickoff, and we're about 2 weeks out from our all staff kickoff, which I'm super excited about. The leadership kickoff this week on Wednesday, we're gonna hone in on those things that the district has been working on over time, and we're gonna talk to our leadership team about doubling down on those things that we're finding to be highly effective, and then giving ourselves permission to let go of some of the things that might not be in alignment with the overall mission, vision, and strategic focus of the district. So I'm looking forward to that conversation. I think many school districts have a tendency to chase many things, right? And we all can suffer from a lack of focus. Does that mean that we're doing a bad job? No, not at all. In fact, as I said, our school district is performing really well on many of the traditional metrics. But I think if we can hone in on, use a little more specific focus, I think we're going to grow even exponentially. So we can do great things when we focus on a few things. Keep the main thing, as they say.
Yeah, and so for you, what has kind of been that process of discovering or determining what is the main thing? And
Yeah.
so, okay, let's talk about that piece first. What is the
Yeah.
main thing for
Yeah.
Poway School District?
So I'm fortunate to work for a really great board of education, and at the same meeting that I started, the December board meeting was my first board meeting. We also sat two new board members who had just newly been elected, and so it was a great opportunity for three of us there at the dais to be new. but to carry forward and continue to focus on some of the things that the prior board had been focusing on. So if we think about student academic growth and achievement on the one hand, and then student safety, wellness, and belonging on the other hand, those are the main things. The question that we now as a new team have before us is how to really truly impact those. What are the levers that are going to show the greatest impact? And as I said before, instead of chasing every initiative or every great idea, having the wherewithal and the discipline to say no to some good ideas so that we can say yes to the really great ones.
Yeah, I love that. I read a book, and I'm a little older, and the book is a little older, but it was an incredible book. It's called The Advantage by Patrick Lencioni. He's the same person that wrote The Five Dysfunctions of a Team. And what he talked about is it should really be like 3 goals.
Yep.
And you just work those. And it's around kind of branding and braiding those initiatives together in a way that you can give people a mental model that these are the priorities, right? Because, I think if you talk to classified staff and certificated staff, the plate has become a platter that's overflowing. And it's difficult for people, I think, within the organization to determine what are the priorities when you've got a lot of things going on. So kudos to you and your governance team for really kind of trying to narrow the focus down. Because we only have so much bandwidth in our organizations, and we only have so many financial resources in our organizations. And so, I used to work with a person, and they would say, look, we can do just about anything. We just can't do everything.
That's right.
And so how is that? What is that looking like, I think, for you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're reading a book as a leadership team right now called The Four Disciplines of Execution, and really the idea there is that any team can really work on one goal at one time with maximum effectiveness. So determining what is wildly important and determining the levers that when we pull them, they'll have maximum impact. So that's what we're talking to our leadership team this week about. How can we know and understand that the whirlwind is going to happen here? Those things that drive 80 to 90% of your day are not going to go away. You manage that. But then how can you hone in on, focus on something that's wildly important, that's going to show a major impact in terms of your goals and priorities. So
yeah, I love that. I mean, my connection to that from The Advantage is, I think the question we were to ask ourselves is, what is so important that we make sure we get it done? Because if we don't do it, it could mean the end of us.
Exactly right. I love that.
Right. And so and if you have to have a meeting every day just to kind of touch in and level set where the team is at on a daily basis. And it sounds to me like this book is, you could draw there's
alignment there for sure.
Some parallels there.
Yep.
And one of the things that I would kind of stay awake thinking about is the principal plays such a key role in this work as the implementer. They are almost the unit of change, because they have more information about the local context of the community they serve than anybody else does in the organization. And so when you've got that main priority and you know that this is the work, what are some things that you're thinking about with your cabinet team in order to keep principals in alignment with the main thing as you move through the school year? Because you're going to have them and they're going to be inspired. And the great thing about getting together at this point in the year is the kids aren't there, the parents aren't there. And so you've really got them in this kind of hyper-focused mentality, and you're inspiring them. They're going to walk out the door ready to go. And then the first day of school comes, and it's fasten up your seat belts and tighten up your chin straps, because it's
Yeah.
game on, so to
Yeah.
speak.
Yeah. Yeah. What we're talking to our principals and other leaders now about is this idea that we have to pull the rope in the same direction. We're not in our case here 41 principals. We're not 41 independent contractors. We're the pilots of our ships, the captains of our ships, but we need to pilot in the same direction. And so by having a couple of overarching goals and priorities that live at every level of the organization, from the school board to the superintendent to the cabinet to our department leads down to school sites, principals, assistant principals, etc. Right? If we have the same language, if we have the same priorities, then each principal ought to be given autonomy to determine how best to get after those priorities at their local school site. I'm very excited about this idea of setting high level direction that comes from the school board and pushes down through the organization, but then allowing principals to make real-time autonomous decisions about how to implement and get after those priorities, so that the work is really pushing up through the organization, with that push pull, top down, down up, right. That is, I think, where we're going to see some really incredible things happen.
Yeah. I love
Yeah.
that. No, you're just making me think about Michael Fullen and his research on
Yep.
leading from the middle, where you've got this top
Yep.
down, bottom
Yep.
up. And again,
Yep.
those principles are there acting like a shock absorber in the system. And what I mean by
Yeah.
that is they're
Yeah.
trying to take those initiatives that are coming from above, get those implemented. At the same
Yep.
time, they're trying to liberate their teachers and support staff to actually do the work.
Yep.
The other thing that came to mind is I'm trying to think of a freeway that's near you guys. Is it the 8?
Now the
The
5.
5. So,
Yep.
it's like you want to get everybody headed the right direction on the 5. We're all
That's right.
heading south on the 5 here.
That's right.
And
That's right.
principals, you choose your lane.
Yep.
Can you be in the fast lane on this initiative because you've got good site level capacity, things are
Yep.
humming, or do you need to be in the middle lane or the slow lane? But as long as you're on the 5 freeway heading south,
Yep.
we're good
Yep.
with each
Yep.
other.
And the best thing about that is that when you give folks the ability to make their own decisions, as you just described, we're all going in the same direction, but you decide which lane, you decide the rate of speed, you decide if you're merging or not merging, then there's a level of engagement that wouldn't happen if folks were just waiting for the top to give them that direction.
Yeah, I think it shifts the narrative from one of accountability to one more of like this personal and collective responsibility, because
That's
people
right.
have a voice, they have a seat at the table. And
Yep.
that contributes, I think, to a sense of belonging in a lot of different ways.
Absolutely.
No,
Absolutely.
this is good. Well, I think, Ben, we're at a point in the conversation where I'm going to stop us. And we'll pause here and continue this
Okay.
amazing conversation after a quick 30-second break for a message from our producer, Schoolbeat, formerly known as MooZoom. And that's a company rethinking student wellness with bite-sized Netflix-style behavior modeling videos, where students can watch peers facing similar challenges and gain fresh perspectives on resolution. It's the only SEL platform that's truly click and play, enabling teachers to deliver a full SEL lesson in 15 minutes or less.
Creating a safe, supportive environment is key to our learners' success. With nearly every district prioritizing social-emotional well-being to reduce suspension rates, decrease chronic absenteeism, and improve academic performance, the challenge is how to achieve this without adding to your staff's workload. Discover MooZoom, a groundbreaking student-driven platform that uses real-world choose-your-own-adventure bite-sized movies to make SEL engaging for students, easy for teachers to teach, and more cost-effective for districts to implement. Check out MooZoom today.
All right. Well, welcome back to the show. Ben, Dr. Ben Churchill is with us today. Great conversation thus far. Ben, let's turn the conversation just a little bit. So you joined your current district, Poway Unified School District in the San Diego County in early December. and you got to do kind of a lot of listening and learning and figure out, where things are at and what the culture is. And now you're kicking off the 25-26 school year under your current governance team structure. Where do you turn to for your own sense of mental wellness and frankly inspiration to do this work?
Yeah. So the work's not easy. This will be the start of my 10th year as a superintendent, and it's as challenging now, I think, as it has ever been. We are in a very special place here in San Diego County. There are 42 school districts in the county, and we have 42 outstanding superintendents, most of whom I can call at a moment's notice for help, support, counseling, whatever it is, right? There are some really good people here, and I don't think every county is like that. I'm a transplant from the Midwest. I worked and lived outside of Chicago for many years, and the area in which I worked there, I was not a superintendent. I was a assistant soup, but there was a sense of competition that pervaded all of the countywide meetings. I was fortunate to be hired down here in San Diego as a superintendent, and the very first thing I remarked upon when I met with other soups here was how collegial and supportive they are of one another. That was true, 9 years ago when I started, and it's equally true now. There's something special about the folks who are serving down here, and I'm not quite sure what to say about it other than to say each and every one of us cares about our colleagues, and we know and understand that in order to be really good at our jobs, sometimes we have to ask for help. And who better than someone who's also sitting in your chair, who knows and understands what you're going through. Now, the makeup of counties, of districts here in San Diego County, are wide ranging. There are very small rural school districts. There are larger urban, many medium suburban, right? So the makeup of each district is different, but the job is the same from district to district. And so who do I turn to for help and assistance, for inspiration? I turn to my colleagues here in San Diego County.
Well, that's saying a lot. I was in Riverside County for my career as a superintendent. And I really believe that we had the same kind of collegiality where, you could turn to your partners, and let's face it. I mean, there's times when, it's a very public facing position, but there's times where it feels very, very lonely.
Yeah.
And I think it's and there's a trust level there too, where you want to know that you can be vulnerable with the right person who's going to maintain that confidentiality. And it's interesting, and time goes by quickly. I mean, after serving out nearly a decade for myself, I turned around and I was the longest serving superintendent in Riverside County, which is just kind of, it's a statement, right? When you look around the room and the faces are changing, for whatever circumstance. And I think it's go ahead.
What's really that's we do see the turnover, right? And that's the superintendency. But something that we've done here in San Diego County is focus on this idea of like collective impact, and the fact that we are stronger together, we do more together, and so even as the people come and go, we've been fortunate to maintain that commitment to work together and support one another. Recently, over the last year or so, I've seen something really cool happening. We meet as a superintendent group probably maybe 5 or 6 times a year, right? All the soups come together. The county office hosts us, but it's a meeting for soups by soups. And over the last year, a small group of superintendent leaders have started to ask really intentional questions of all of us about our own mental and emotional health and wellness. And can I name drop?
Yeah,
Is that right?
absolutely.
So Andy Johnson in
Yep.
San Marcos,
Great
and
guy.
Carl Mueller down in Coronado,
Yeah.
David Feliciano. These guys are thinking very intentionally about how to support superintendents in the field. And they've now started reaching out to outside partners like UCSD and other organizations to try to build some wellness training for superintendents so that we can have some longevity in our careers. It wasn't too long ago that someone said, I don't know if I can do this much longer in one of our meetings. And when you looked around the room and saw everyone nodding their head, and you realize, well, that person just said the thing that a lot of people have been thinking. It was clear to folks that we needed to do something different. So I'm really enamored with the work and excited about the fact that we've got some outstanding leaders here who are helping the system think about how to find longevity in our jobs.
I think that's fantastic. And, the idea of lifting each other up, we've had some previous guests on the Superintendent Hot Seat podcast, particularly around women in the superintendency, and asking them the question, where do you go to find inspiration? What are your support systems? And there's been some wonderful developments in this arena with, women leaders, the sister circles that are happening. And it sounds to me like you've got a great collegial group. I don't know what the statistics are today around superintendent longevity. I remember in my brain somewhere that it was about 2.8 years is the average tenure of a superintendency. And so when you get to, you said, I think you're starting your 10th year as superintendent. I mean,
That's
by
right.
the statistics, you're significantly beating the odds. And I want to say congratulations on that. And
thank you, but we don't do that alone, right? We don't do that on our own. We do it because we've developed a support network, and there are folks who care about us, who help to move the work forward. And I will just as an aside, thinking about female leadership and the superintendency, something else that's really unique about San Diego County, if the national average is 25 to 30% of superintendents are female, down here in our county, it exceeds 50% and has for many years. And I wonder if that also contributes to the sense of collegiality that we have. I am very fortunate to have a number of superintendent mentors who are female superintendents, and I think I've learned so much by being down here in this county surrounded by great folks.
yeah, oh, that's fantastic. And it really is. Yeah, it's almost a type of love that's passed from one colleague to another, where it goes. The conversations extend far beyond the work. It's, how are you doing, Ben Churchill? How is your family doing? I think because one of the things that people may not realize is that our family becomes almost an emotional hostage with us as we do this work as superintendents. It doesn't just impact us as individuals; it impacts the people who love us and spend time with us. And and it's as it's hard to shut that off when you get home at the end of the day.
Yeah, when you think about our families, when you think about the people we love and the people that love us, they are definitely impacted by the work that we do, sometimes positively and sometimes negatively. So certainly that's something to think about as well in terms of the overall sustainability of the superintendency and one's own longevity. Is can you find strength and solace in, and also help protect the people that you love and those people that love you.
Yeah. So as we're getting ready to kick off another year with students here,
Yeah.
what are the greatest, like what's front and center on your radar screen in terms of navigating the politics of your current superintendency? And I'm talking, let's start big and think about politics at the national level.
Yeah.
How is that impacting your school district, Poway Unified in San Diego, long ways away from Washington, D.C.? But what are the things that are top of mind for you, Dan?
Yeah, it's interesting. So some of what's happening nationally absolutely trickles down into districts and schools and classrooms. Um, so we have to be aware and cognizant of what the larger social political conversations are nationally. But at the same time, I think I've learned over time that if you pay too much attention to that and focus too heavily on what's happening externally, nationally, and in other parts of the country, it can take you away from your primary focus, which are the kids and families, staff members who are here in your schools right in front of you today. So I think it's a balancing act for superintendents to be cognizant of and recognize what's happening on the national landscape, but to also protect some of your own folks and say, you know what, it's okay. I got this. I'll manage the political side of things so that you all can focus on what's really important, which is educating our kids every single day.
Amen. The kids that are sitting right in front of you right now.
Exactly right.
Yeah, you know I think you're spot on. I think the good teachers have always realized that, hey, when I'm in my classroom, it is all about the kids. It's 100% about the kids. And I think by and large,
Yeah.
that's what educators' mindset is.
Yeah.
And the other thing I was thinking about the other day is, we often think about the teacher-student interaction timeline being limited to just 1 year. But I think that the best teachers know that that interaction exchange can literally last a lifetime.
Exactly.
We think about some of the interactions that we have with students that may go beyond, just that particular grade level or subject matter area.
Yep.
And we tend to stay in touch with those students who have left some sort of a mark on our lives. And as I'm getting older, I'm thinking about students that, one of the great things, I guess, about social media is that it's a way to stay connected, and realizing that, I guess I'm just having a moment here where I'm thinking about people that have come back to me and said, and the conversation always usually starts the same way. It's, you probably don't remember Mr. McCormick, but,
Yeah.
and I will say, give me a little bit more. And once they give me a little bit more context, I can go right back. I say, I remember that conversation that we had. And that's what impacted. So I guess the long story short is as educators, you never know what impact you're going to have on the lives of your students. And if you stick around long enough, sometimes you're fortunate in that people will actually come back and tell you. Have you had some situations like that, Ben?
Yeah, it's great. I can actually think about it in the reverse. I can still remember interactions I had with particular teachers in high school or middle school or elementary school, right? Folks who impacted me, and all of whom I have not had the opportunity to go back and say, I don't know if you remember me, but I want to thank you for this, that, or the other thing that was so very deeply impactful to me. We moved a lot when I was younger. So having moved from state to state, I often, I didn't at all have the opportunity to go back and thank teachers. But there are teachers who absolutely influenced my trajectory in life. And I wouldn't be who I am today without some of those interactions. So yes, I can think very, very clearly about a number of things that have happened to me over my life that impacted me. And those are all entirely because of outstanding teachers and other folks who worked in schools.
You've just created an amazing segue right into the last portion of the Superintendent's Hot Seat podcast, which is Dr. Ben Churchill. What are you grateful for? What's on your gratitude list?
Yeah, I am very grateful to live here in sunny Southern California, San Diego County. We live not too far from the beach, and so as a kid who grew up all over the Midwest, this is absolutely phenomenal, and I'm so grateful for that. I'm grateful to work now in a school district with a high functioning Board of Education that does know and understand what's most important, and works really hard, despite the fact that they're across the spectrum in terms of politics and policy. They are all unified in their purpose, and that's focusing on students. And so I am so very grateful to work in a system where there are leaders who do care about the right things. I'm grateful for family, as we mentioned before, for the people that I love and the people that love me, that help sustain my ability to work at a high level. And then the colleagues across the county that I've gotten to know and care deeply about as a support system. So we've got veteran superintendents, we've got new superintendents, folks who are all committed to the spirit of collectivism, training one another up, supporting one another up, and really caring for each other. I could not be more grateful for that.
Well, there you have it, folks. Another edition of the Superintendent Hot Seat with our guest today, Dr. Ben Churchill. Thanks for being with us, Ben.
Thank you. Appreciate it.